I recently moved to Liverpool to start a new chapter in my life. After a bitter divorce and losing my job in the city, I needed a fresh start. I found a quaint yet affordable apartment in the outskirts of the city. It wasn't much, but it was enough for me and my loyal dog, Max. The first few weeks were uneventful. I spent my days job hunting and my nights unpacking boxes. However, one night I found an old rotary phone buried deep in one of the boxes. It looked ancient, with its tarnished brass and worn-out dial. There was something oddly comforting about it, so I decided to keep it on my bedside table as a nostalgic decoration. Liverpool had always been a city of contrasts. The bustling docks, the vibrant music scene, and the historic buildings gave it a unique charm. My new apartment, however, was in a quieter, more desolate part of town. The streets were lined with old Victorian houses, many of which had seen better days. It was a far cry from the life I had left behind in the city center, but I embraced the change, hoping it would help me heal and find a new purpose. It was a stormy night when I received the first call. The wind howled outside and rain pounded against the windows. I had just settled into bed, trying to drift off to sleep, when the rotary phone started ringing. It was a chilling, echoing sound that seemed to come from another era. Confused, I picked up the receiver. "Hello?" I said, my voice trembling slightly. There was nothing but static on the other end. I tried to shake it off, thinking it must have been a mistake or a prank. However, as the nights passed, the calls became more frequent. Each time, there was only static and an unsettling silence that made my skin crawl. Max, my loyal golden retriever, seemed to sense that something was wrong. He would growl and bark at the phone whenever it rang, his hackles raised. His usually friendly demeanor had changed, and he seemed on edge, as if he could sense the malevolent presence I couldn't see. Determined to find out who was behind the calls, I did some research on the old phone. I discovered it once belonged to the previous tenant, a young woman named Emma who had mysteriously disappeared years ago. Rumor had it she was involved in some dark, occult practices. Intrigued and terrified, I reached out to Emma's friends and family to learn more about her. They spoke of her obsession with communicating with the dead and her belief that the old phone was a conduit to the other side. As I dug deeper, I stumbled upon Emma's journal, hidden in a secret compartment in the phone. Her journal detailed her descent into madness, haunted by a malevolent spirit she believed she had summoned. She wrote about the phone calls, describing the static as the spirit's voice trying to break through. Emma's last entry was a plea for help, her handwriting erratic and desperate. The entries in Emma's journal painted a vivid picture of her life before her disappearance. She had been a bright, ambitious woman with a promising career and a wide circle of friends. But something had changed. Her obsession with the supernatural had consumed her, isolating her from those who cared about her. The journal entries became more and more frantic, filled with drawings of strange symbols and descriptions of horrifying visions. One night, as I was reading Emma's journal, the phone rang again. This time, I felt a cold, malevolent presence in the room. Summoning all my courage, I answered the call. "Who are you?" I demanded, my voice shaking. To my horror, the static began to form words. "I am the darkness," the voice hissed. "I am the one who took Emma, and now I have come for you." Panic surged through me, but I refused to let the entity control my life. I sought help from a local paranormal investigator named Alex, who had a reputation for dealing with such cases. Alex was skeptical at first, but after witnessing the phone's eerie behavior, he agreed to help. Alex was a tall, imposing figure with a calm demeanor that belied the intensity of his work. He had been investigating paranormal phenomena for over a decade, and his vast knowledge and experience made him the perfect ally in my fight against the entity. Together, we set out to uncover the truth behind the phone and the malevolent spirit it harbored. Alex and I spent weeks trying to cleanse the apartment and banish the entity. We used every method we could think of, from rituals and spells to technological experiments. But the entity grew stronger, and the phone calls became more sinister. It began to manipulate my mind, filling my dreams with nightmarish visions of Emma's fate. One night, the entity's influence reached its peak. Max started barking furiously, and I felt an icy hand wrap around my throat. I was on the brink of losing hope when Alex managed to trace the entity's origin to a cursed object buried in the basement. It was an old, cursed mirror that Emma had used in her rituals. The basement was a dark, damp space that reeked of decay. The walls were lined with shelves filled with strange artifacts and dusty old books. In the corner, hidden beneath a pile of rubble, we found the mirror. It was a large, ornate piece with an intricate frame that seemed to pulsate with a dark energy. As we uncovered it, the air grew colder, and the oppressive presence of the entity became almost unbearable. With the mirror in our possession, Alex and I performed a final desperate ritual to banish the entity. The room was filled with an oppressive darkness, and the phone's ringing became deafening. As we chanted the incantations, the entity fought back, lashing out with terrifying force. But with our combined strength and determination, we managed to shatter the mirror and break the curse. The darkness lifted, and the phone fell silent. I felt a sense of relief wash over me, knowing that the entity was finally gone. The battle had taken its toll on both of us. Alex had suffered several injuries, and I was left physically and emotionally drained. But we had succeeded. The apartment was finally free of the malevolent presence that had haunted it for so long. In the aftermath, I found peace in my apartment once more. The phone remained a silent relic, a reminder of the horrors we had faced. Alex and I became close friends, bonded by our shared ordeal. I even found a new job and began to rebuild my life. But sometimes late at night, I still feel a chill in the air and hear a faint, distant ringing. I know the entity is gone, but the memories linger, a reminder that the darkness is never far away.